Alright guys, welcome back to the channel today. Now, our video is not taking place in here, only about the first minute is. I actually had to come in here for a second to record the opening of this video, but Classroom of the Elite today. Now I have to admit, while I don't love that they changed locations, I will admit that the episode is still really good today. It's still quite good. I think they handled the scene really well actually. And for the most part, I think they did a really good job with it, honestly. There's some things here and there that I don't love, but for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job, honestly. So I'm kind of excited to get to this episode with you guys. This is a super important scene, obviously, as you guys know if you're a light novel reader. So let's just get into it and talk about Classroom of the Elite, Season 2, Episode 12 today. So our episode begins exactly where our last one left off last week, with Ryueen interrogating Kei to try to figure out who the mastermind of Class D is. Now, as this is going on, he's getting rougher and rougher. Like, he's literally throwing her ass around the room. And I'm thinking to myself, like, holy shit, man. Because I'll say one thing about the anime. The anime made it way more violent. In the light novel, it was kind of more threatening, but the anime made it way more, like, physically violent, as he's literally throwing her across the room. And he literally picks her up by her collar and says, "Let me ask you a question, Kei. How do you think Manabe and her friends were able to find you on the ship? How do you think they were able to find you?" And he reveals that it's because the mastermind told them. He set that whole situation up. He's been using you since the very beginning. And now he's throwing you away like trash. No one is coming to save you. You are alone. And it's here that Kei starts wavering for the first time in this whole confrontation. Like, no, there's no way. He didn't just trick me. He said he would protect me. Ryueen tells her, just tell me his name and I will never bother you again. I make that promise now. But if you don't, I will show you no mercy. I won't rest until I drive you straight down to hell. And it's here that Kei has to make a decision with herself. Like, do I tell him and end this? Will this really end if I tell him? Am I going to end up right back where I was before? Am I going to end up back in that dark place that I've tried to escape from this whole time? And she starts saying his name. She's getting parts of his name out more and more. But it's here she starts thinking to herself that even if I have nowhere else to go, even if I continue to suffer, I'm never going to tell you who he is. Now Ryueen, who's furious by this, literally grabs her bangs and yanks her up off the ground and says, "Why are you covering for this person?" And she says, "I don't even know myself, but I want to be able to hold my ground for once, stand up for myself." Really showcasing that slowly but surely, she's starting to overcome the trauma of her past. She says, "I might end up regretting it, but this is my answer." And Ryueen is furious. He's like, "I respect you for not selling him out, but this is it for you. You're done." And it's here Kei starts thinking to herself, like, if this is what it takes to protect him, I don't mind. Do I get to be the cool one for once? And she starts talking to herself, saying how, my whole life has been lame, has been boring up until this point, but when I started to interact with Kiyotaka, everything was more exciting, everything was fun, life became more vibrant. But somewhere deep down, I really thought he would come and save me. As she starts crying, and she says, "This is what I deserve. All I ever done is lie anyway." And it's here we transition to the Ayanokoji group going to karaoke. And Ayanokoji all of a sudden decides, guys, I'm not going to go with you after all. I'm actually going to head home. And he actually leaves. And it's here that he meets up with Chibashira sensei, Sai. And he starts telling her about the situation that, I called you here because where we stand right now, Class D will never advance again. Ryueen has lured Kei somewhere to try to tear her down and make her leave school. And if she leaves school, there's a very high risk that Class D will be in trouble and will never be able to advance. So he's trying to get Sai to intervene in this situation. But she's standoffish about it because no teacher at this school can really intervene in the affairs of students. That's one of the special things about this school, is that the students are left to deal with their problems on their own. But Ayanokoji questions her and says, "Can you really afford to do that?" As he tells her, "I don't want you to do anything. I want you to just watch. You'll want to see how this ends." And it's here, as they're heading to the building that this is all taking place, that they happen to run into the student council president, or the former student council president, I should say in this instance. What was his name? Manabu? Horikita's brother. And Sai's shocked to see him. Like, do you think he's going to come and solve this situation? Ayanokoji just says, no, he's here just to bear witness and to make sure that Class C is the one that started this incident. And he says, I understand the situation, Ayanokoji. I don't have a problem with that. But you remember our end of the deal, right? And Ayanokoji says, yeah, I just have to get your sister onto the student council, right? No problem. We'll do that. And it's here, as Ayanokoji's walking away to go confront them, that Sai is literally standing there like, what do you plan to do? Like, what do you plan to do in this situation if you don't want us to intervene? And Horikita's brother literally says he plans to put an end to this all on his own. As Chibashira is left standing there like, how the hell is he going to deal with Ryueen and his lackeys all on his own? We'll find that out very soon. Ayanokoji confronts Albert, who takes him in there, and it's right here that he walks in there and reveals himself, and everyone is shocked except for Ryueen. Even Kei is shocked, like, why are you here? And he just tells her, I made you a promise, didn't I? I said I'd come protect you. As he shows Ryueen that she did in fact message him to come save them, and that he is the one they've been searching for. Now, Ibiki tries to deny this right away, saying, nah, he's just an idiot. He can't be the person. Back on the island test, he didn't even know what I was doing. And Ayanokoji says, oh yeah? Well, your camera broke. Because if you remember, on the island test, she had a camera with her that was supposed to play a huge part into their plan, but it was broken, kind of thwarting their plans. And Ayanokoji reveals that, I'm the one who broke it. I knew what you were doing all along. I went ahead and broke that shit so you couldn't enact your plan. And she's shocked by this, as Ryueen finally admits that, alright, I guess you are the mastermind then. But then Ryueen says, but tell me, Ayanokoji, if it is you, why would you come here? The best thing you could have done in this situation is to leave Kei to her fate. Why would you come here? Why would you come behind enemy lines? Show me this grand master plan of yours that you have to stop this situation. Now, Ayanokoji just looks him straight in the face and says, plan? I don't have a plan. I just came to get her. That's it. And everyone starts surrounding him in this situation. Like, that's not a good idea, Ayanokoji. You're forcing my hand here. And Kei tries to beg them to stop. She knows what's about to happen, but Ryueen literally kicks her away. And says that, you know, this world is dictated by violence. Violence is what dictates this world, is what power is. You can try all the underhanded tricks you want, but it all crumbles under raw force. Ryueen says he's going to crush Class D right here and now. He's going to end this right here and now. And he literally asks Ayanokoji, like, how do you plan to escape this situation? How do you plan to get out of trouble this time? And Ayanokoji just says, let me ask you one thing. Am I in trouble right now? If it's just the four of you here, you won't be able to stop me. And it's here that the ass-kicking commences. Now, as much as I have problems with this scene, because I got some fucking big ones, in terms of character development and character-wise, it's still a satisfying scene, as Ishizaki and Albert actually come at Ayanokoji right here. And Ayanokoji just effortlessly takes out Ishizaki, knocks him down, and he gets into a fist fight with Albert. And he's nimbly just dodging everything. Like, Albert can't even lay a hand on him. And Kei's just watching on like, no way this is actually happening. And Ayanokoji just effortlessly like, kicks out Albert's knee, freaking gets him on his knees him in the face, punches him, freaking puts him on his ass. Ishizaki gets back up and tries to say something to Ayanokoji, and he just says, "Save your breath, just come at me already." And he just beats the dog shit out of them. He knocks Ishizaki out this time, and then he literally kicks Albert across the face, knocking him out. And Ibuki and Ryueen are standing there in disbelief. Ibuki is literally like, Ayanokoji's that strong? And Ayanokoji reveals to them that you don't get it, do you? I manufactured this whole situation to come down to a fight. If I really cared about keeping my identity a secret, I wouldn't have used Manabe in the first place. I'm sure you thought that it was all going a part of your plan though, Ryueen. And Ryueen literally says, "You're saying you let me run around in vain while you watched?" And Ayanokoji literally tells him, like, "I'm sure it seemed that way, but in actuality, I was just pulling the strings to make sure you run." Really showcasing that he had this situation completely under control. Everything is according to plan. Ryueen did exactly what he wanted him to do. And it's here that Ryueen kind of instigates something with Ibuki to get her to attack Ayanokoji, and she does. Now remember, guys, Ibuki is a trained fighter. She actually knows martial arts and all that. She can put up way more of a fight, even than Albert. Even though Albert's way stronger than her, she's actually trained. So she comes at Ayanokoji, and he just makes absolute light work of her. Which, I'm still a little disappointed with this, too, because in the light novel, he literally chokes her out. He literally chokes her out. But in this time, he just fucking judo chops her like Austin Powers and knocks her out. And it's here that Ryueen says, I had you figured all wrong, Ayanokoji. But even a battle of force can't be won by physical strength alone, as they start fighting themselves. Now, while Ryueen is not someone who's trained as a fighter or as physically strong as Albert, he's far more scrappy than them. Ayanokoji even comments himself, like, these are not the moves of someone who's trained in martial arts. These are the moves of someone who's constantly had to fight to survive. Really showcasing that Ryueen's experienced. Who knows how many fights he's been in just to save his own ass. Like, he'll put up way more of a fight than those other three. But Ayanokoji is still beating the dog shit out of him. And as they're fighting, Ayanokoji asks him, like, "Do you really think you can beat me?" Ryueen says, "Do you really think I can't?" And Ayanokoji backhands the shit out of him and says, "Sorry, I don't think there's any way I'm gonna lose here." And then Ryueen starts saying, "You might win today, but what about tomorrow? And the day after that?" And Ayanokoji says, "You think you'll win eventually if you keep at it, right?" And Ryueen says, "Yeah, I'll come for you at all hours. No matter where you go, I will find you, and we will fight again, and again, and again." And it's here that Ryueen actually manages to get him into an armbar and says, "I don't know the meaning of fear. I've never felt fear a day in my life." And it's here we actually get a little flashback to Ryueen's past, where he says, "Fear and joy are two sides of the same coin. This world is ruled by violence. A person's standing is determined by how strongly they can wield it. Nothing can overturn that rule, no matter what. That's an underlying fact of the world, except for death." And he explains to Ayanokoji that any fool can feel pain, and pain transforms itself into fear. And Ayanokoji tells him, "Alright, then try to teach me the meaning of pain then." And Ryueen starts hitting him. Ayanokoji's letting him hit him to try to showcase his point. As Ryueen's raining blows down Ayanokoji, but then he literally looks at Ryueen and says, "I'm sorry, I don't feel anything." He says, "I really wanted to see if I could feel that fear you keep talking about, but I don't feel anything at all." As he quickly breaks out of the armbar and lands like a good solid 6 punches on Ryueen, literally making him drop to his knees. And it's here that Ryueen's finally starting to realize that you're no ordinary person. Do you get off with that power, looking down at all the weaklings around you? As Ayanokoji tells him that was never my intention, as their fight continues yet again. And at this point, Ryueen is just getting the absolute dog shit kicked out of him. Ayanokoji is throwing him around. He literally hits him against the wall, then throws him on the ground, gets on top of him, and starts raining down punches on him. As Ayanokoji asks him again, "You said you've never felt fear before, right?" Ryuen's like, "That's right. No matter how much this hurts, the pain is all I feel. Even if you take me down this time, I'll come after you as many times as it takes." As Ayanokoji's just raining down punch after punch after punch. And I'll tell you guys right now, he is not punching him seriously at all. He's not. He's literally just consistently punching him with the same amount of force every single time. As Ryueen keeps running his mouth saying, "No matter where or when, I'll take every opening I see. I'll be the one standing victorious at the end." And this whole time, he's berating Ayanokoji, saying how, "I will win in the end, no matter what. Savor your victory for now, Ayanokoji. Your victory's in sight." And this whole time, Ryuen's getting the dog shit beat out of him. Blood's going everywhere. As he's saying, "Show me your emotion, Ayanokoji. What are you feeling right now? Joy? Annoyance? Anger? Tell me exactly how you feel in this situation." And it's here that Ryueen finally understands as he looks up at Ayanokoji's dead eyes as he says, "What are you talking about?" And Ryueen finally in this instance is realizing his situation as Ayanokoji starts punching him harder and harder this time, saying how something like this doesn't make me feel anything. I feel no emotion whatsoever from this. As the punches rain down harder and harder and harder each time, he's like, "What emotion is there to feel? I feel nothing." And at this point, Ryueen is finally feeling fear. As Ayanokoji says, "There you go, Ryueen," as he literally does one swift punch and completely knocks him out and says, "So you are capable of feeling fear after all." Truly showcasing how empty he is as a person and just how effortlessly he could have ended this situation at any point. But he wanted Ryueen to feel fear. Ryueen said himself that he would never back down and he's never felt fear. So the only way to get him to back down permanently is to make him feel fear. And that's exactly what happened. As Ayanokoji approaches Kei, wraps his jacket around her and says, "I'm sorry I let you suffer for so long." And he's like, "Are you disappointed in me?" And she says, "You bet I am. You were using me the whole time." And Ayanokoji literally admits to it and says, "I was. Why didn't you sell me out to Ryueen then?" As she finally says, "I did it for myself." And she finally breaks down as Ayanokoji embraces her. As she finally lets out all the emotion she's been keeping in this whole time. And he actually comforts her and says, "In this moment, right here and now, the chains that bound you were gone. You are free of your past burden. I'm the one that hurt you, so I won't ask you for your forgiveness. But I want you to remember one thing, that if something like this ever happens again or you're ever in trouble, I will come to save you without fail." And that's how our episode ends today. Now, I have to explain this scene a bit to you guys so you guys don't understand it. Even in this scene, he's still using her. Because Ayanokoji knew this situation was happening the entire time. He was well aware this was going to happen and that this was happening. And he purposely delayed his arrival there. He prolonged this. Because with a situation like this, if he prolonged it and she really truly hit rock bottom again and he comes to save her, at that point, she will forever listen to him. She will forever do exactly what he says. Without question, she is completely and utterly loyal at this point. And that was his goal in this situation. It's quite manipulative, frankly. It really is. But I will say, he does care. He does care to an extent. It's not like he doesn't give a shit at all. He does care. But this was all a part of his plan from the very beginning. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not fucked in a way, but that's just who Ayanokoji is. And as of this moment, Kei is completely and utterly loyal to him now. which means his plan worked. Now, I really wasn't too satisfied with this episode, to be honest. I'll keep it a buck with you guys. I wasn't. I really wasn't. I think they fumbled the ball hard because this is by far one of the most impactful scenes in the entire series. So far, at least. And I don't think they really did it justice. I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying, yo, this is the scene that you hyped up. But believe me when I tell you just how much more like hype and impactful this is in the light novel. I feel like they kind of fumbled hard here. But they got the overall message and the themes they were trying to do across. So I suppose I can let it slide, even if I'm not super satisfied with it. But you guys let me know what you think down below. Frankly, I expect some dissatisfied comments, but it is what it is, guys. That's all I can really say. But still, let me know what you think down below. I'm very curious to know how you feel. Not even about how it was supposed to be. Just tell me how you feel with this turn of events, with Ryueen and some people from Class C knowing that Ayanokoji is the mastermind now. What do you think's going to happen moving forward? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted, but it was still good. So we're closing in on our final episode next week, which I imagine will be set up for Season 3, which is coming next year. So get hyped for that. But until next time, guys, hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. Until then, deuces, have a blessed day. I'll see you guys